Hey, what's up? My name's Justin. Welcome to 65 Drums. Today we're doing another episode of Buy or Pass. This is episode 2. I got the first one if you want to go check that one out. The way this whole video works is we take a look at a bunch of different electronic drum sets from like Sam Ash, Music Go Around, Guitar Center, all from the used section. So some of these are like really beat up, some of them have hardly been touched. So what we want to do is take a look at them and give them a buy or a pass. Is it a good deal or is it a bad deal? Now the sad truth of the matter is that a lot of these used electronic drum sets just are not a good deal at all. They're not worth buying. They're either just like $200 too much or they're in pretty poor condition. But there are other ones that are like incredible deals and you wonder why someone hasn't bought it already. So let's jump over to our first electronic drum set. A used Roland TT30 KS from Sam Ash, one of the largest music stores in the United States. First, I want to address the whole KS thing. I've gotten emails from people asking, hey Justin, what's the difference between the Roland TT30 K and the Roland TT30 KS? Or Justin, hey, I've been wondering what's the difference between the TT11K and the TT11KS. I don't really know why some brands or some like music stores put the S at the end of those names, but basically it's the exact same thing. The only letters that actually differentiate between different versions of Roland drum sets is K and KV. So the Roland TT30K or the Roland TT30KV. All right, so jumping into it, if you just look at this thing, the drum heads are in rough shape. Now, I don't think that they're actually like frayed or anything. They don't look damaged, but they are incredibly, incredibly dirty. You could throw these in like your dishwasher and they would probably come out pretty darn clean. But I mean, if you're gonna spend all this money, you probably want to just buy a drum set that already looks like it's in good condition. Also, if we look down here, look at that. It looks like the master volume knob, or is that the mix volume knob? One of those is missing right there. It just fell off. Now, I've noticed this in music stores. For some reason, the volume knobs on Roland electronic drum modules just go missing. Like I've seen the volume knobs on Roland TT25 modules just go missing all the time. And I don't know if like people are just like ripping them off like they're the Hulk or something. I don't really know, but that's a common thing that I see at music stores. And you just got to be really careful whenever you're like thinking about buying a floor model of any electronic drum set. I also love the description down here. They break it down. They say you get 100 kits, and at this price point, that means that you're getting about $40 a kit. I love how they like do the math to show you how amazing of a deal it is. And as far as the price goes, if this was in absolute pristine condition, that would be an okay price. I mean, I would look more for a Roland TT30K at like $3,400. And as you know, I actually own this exact drum set. I bought it as a 30-day return a while back, like back in 2015 or something, for $3,800. So it was only 30 days old when I bought it. This one is gotten heavy use as a store floor model, and they're only selling it for a few $100 less than I bought it as a 30-day return. So yeah, I feel like the price for this exact precise drum set should be a little bit lower. All right, so let's move on to the next drum set. We've got a used Yamaha DTX Xtreme 3. Now, as I've said in past videos, the Yamaha DTX Xtreme 3 was basically a Roland TT20S contender. So these two drum sets, the Roland TT20 line and the DTX Xtreme 3 line, they're going head to head. A lot of people love the Roland drum sets, a lot of people love the Yamaha drum sets. But I feel like it should be a little bit lower, even though the pads are huge and it is still a nice drum set. It's going to last you a long time if it's in good condition. The drum module does have a ton of controls inside of it. It's a very flexible, very powerful drum module. Even though it's got all those things going for it, you're still using standard run-of-the-mill rubber pads. And that's a problem for me, especially since the Yamaha silicone pads are so much better, especially because mesh heads are getting cheaper and cheaper. So buying a $2,000 drum set with just rubber pads, even though it's a good drum set, I don't know if it's really worth that. Moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Rollin TT10. Now, there were a couple of different versions of the TT10. This one right here was the flagship version. This had the really nice cymbals, and it was blue or red, and it was the like the high-end version. And this is like the step-down version. I believe this was called the TT10 like stage kit or concert kit. So as you can see, it's got these little rubber cymbals right here. You don't have like the actual like V cymbals like this one does right here. So you can't expect to pay as much for this version of the drum set. These cymbal pads, you can go buy these types of cymbal pads right now. They're just rubber pads for like $30 to $50 online. But the fact is, the cymbals keep me from really wanting to use this. And also the TT10 is an older drum module. So I feel like even though the price isn't terrible, I would give it a pass myself because it's just not something I would personally buy. Moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Alesis DM6 Pro drum set. I haven't played one of these for years and years. I remember the first time I played this was at Sweetwater Gear Fest. I was still a teenager, and I had a lot of fun playing this kit. First of all, it's got a chrome rack, which was kind of a novelty at the time. It had metal electronic cymbals, which was pretty darn rare. I had a lot of fun playing with this drum set. It's got the acoustic drum heads that have like a foam dampening underneath of it. Even though it's incredibly fun to play, it also is a tad loud. And Alesis got this complaint a bunch of times, and that's why they switched over to rubber cymbals and then having mesh pads. If you don't care about like the noise issue, then this actually isn't that bad of a price for 700 bucks. And it looks like they've actually upgraded this drum set a little bit. There's an extra cymbal, and there seems to be 4 tom pads, and I don't know where the DM10 drum module is. So I do have a little bit of hesitancy about buying this particular drum set, because if you don't see it in the picture, you gotta wonder if it's actually gonna come with the drum set. And unfortunately, they don't give you any description here at all on what actually comes with this drum set. If it came with everything, 700 bucks would be a fair price, so I would give that a buy if this is your kind of drum set. Okay, so moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Yamaha DTX700 series with a 502 drum module. Now, the person that wrote this whole description here was a little bit confused, because if you go look up the DTX562K, you can clearly see it's the exact same drum set right here. So this person thought that it was the 700 series pads, the upgraded mid-tier pads with a lower-end drum module, but it's really just the DTX562 drum set. So as you can see, the base price right now is 1,500 bucks. So you're only saving $400 if you buy it used right here. But as far as drum sets you can get for 1,000 bucks or so, this is definitely worth looking into, because, you know, you're getting a hi-hat on a hi-hat stand, you're getting silicone toms, you're getting 3-zone cymbals, and you're getting a nice snare. So as far as the overall package, I do give this a buy. I wish it was an even $1,000. That would make it a really good deal. But as it is right now, I feel like it's a fair price. Okay, so moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Clavia D-Drum 4 electronic drum set for $1,060. Which is a very, very precise number. Usually you don't see drum sets for $1,060, but it looks like it was originally 1,400 bucks. They couldn't find a buyer anywhere, so they lowered the price a little bit. I honestly don't think this drum set is going to sell until it, you know, drops below that $1,000 mark, because the thing about this drum set is that it's a collector's piece. No one's really going to buy this as their primary drum set unless they found it for a really good deal. That D-Drum 4 drum module is pretty famous. A lot of people like that module quite a bit. These pads, they're kind of retro. These drum pads right here for like the snare, the toms, the kick, that's using acoustic drum heads, because you can actually see they're a little dents in the center of the snare. And the funny thing is, I've never seen like a rubber cymbal pad like this that's mounted on a physical hi-hat stand. So yeah, I need to read up more on this brand of drum set, because this is something that I'm not really familiar with. I wanted to throw it in though, because it is a unique drum set, but it's more for the people that just want to collect something versus someone who actually wants to play the thing. Next up is a Roland TT10K. Now, if you've watched a bunch of my videos, you know that I think the TT15 line is just very underrated. It's a great line of drum sets, especially because they've been dropped from the official lineup, meaning the used prices are pretty low. So you're getting a lot of drum set for a low price. Now, I do realize this is still a pretty small drum set for 1,000 bucks, but the drum module is very good. You get the decent high quality Rollin cymbals. I think that's a Rollin CY13R. I feel like the toms are kind of tiny, but as far as an overall package for 1,000 bucks, if you have $1,000, this is something I would personally recommend buying, so I am giving it a pass. I'm not a fan of having the inner white plastic rim built into the mesh head itself. I think that's an idiotic idea. But overall, yeah, I do give this one a pass, because I do like the T15 series quite a bit, and 1,000 bucks is pretty fair. If you really think about it, this is a Rollin TT11 KV, except with a better drum module. That's really what this is. Moving on to the next thing, we have a used Pearl True Track trigger pad. Now, this is the problem when you're buying used stuff, either on Facebook, either on Craigslist, or on Reverb, or on like Guitar Center. They mislabel everything. So right here it says it's a trigger pad, but it looks like from the box right here that it's the entire trigger package. If it's the entire package and if it's in good condition, 450 bucks is definitely a buy. It's a good price, because what some people don't realize is that it is a pain in the butt to convert an acoustic set into electronic. When I mean pain in the butt, I mean it's going to be trial and error. It's going to take you some time. You're going to have to buy multiple components from different companies. So you're going to have to buy a full set of mesh heads, buy a full set of drum triggers, learn how to install those drum triggers, mess with the position of those drum triggers, and then mess with like all the different trigger settings, like threshold, like re-trigger cancel, and all that stuff. Now, of course, you're going to get the best results by going that route, But if you want to have a quick, dirty, simple solution, just buying a conversion package with rubber pads like this right here, you will get good trigger results. It's not going to take much effort, and it's not going to be expensive either. Because again, for under 500 bucks, you converted your entire acoustic drum set minus the cymbals. Okay, so next up is a used Simmons SD1000. Now, the reason why I included this very specific model, this very specific drum set, is because I get a lot of questions about it. I've gotten so many messages and emails and stuff, people asking me, hey Justin, should I buy this Simmons SD1000? The reason why they're asking me is because Guitar Center is practically giving them away. They seem to have had, too many on hand, or maybe no one was buying them. So they just kept lowering the price lower and lower and lower. And now it's like incredibly cheap to buy one, especially if you're going to buy a used one. You can get this drum set for 360 bucks. And it's got standard rubber pads, and it's going to a drum module that has, just boring sounds inside of it. It's your standard everyday electronic drum set. And that's really all I have to say about it. You don't buy this as like a long-term drum set. You buy this as like a practice drum set. So if you know that going in, then you can make the best decision on whether or not you actually want to buy them. I personally wouldn't buy them, but some people seem to like them. Moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Alesis DM10 kit full electronic drum. Man, they're great at naming these things. Anyway, this one's going for about 550 bucks. I would personally give this a pass because it does have those acoustic drum heads on it. And I gave the other one, the Alesis DM10 Pro, a buy because it's got the metal cymbals and the acoustic heads. With this, it's like a halfway thing where you're not getting mesh heads, but you're getting rubber cymbals. So it's like half quiet and half loud at the same time. Moving on to the next drum set, we have a used Rollin TT10 electronic drum set for 400 bucks. This one takes me back a little bit because I've actually done a drum lesson with my drum teacher on this exact kit right here. This drum set is a classic, kind of. It's not like 80s Simmons classic, but it's not like new either. So it's like in that middle gulf where no one's like gonna clamor for this drum set because it's not like, it didn't change the world, but it's also too old for anyone to really care about it. Yeah, I would give this one a pass because you can buy newer Roland drum sets that are used for this exact same price. Next up, we have a D-Drum DD Beta XP 5-piece electronic drum. Now this kit reminds me of the early days of my channel because if you go way back in the archives of 65 drums, you can find my review of this. D-Drum actually did contact me. They mailed me this drum set. I played it for a couple of weeks, gave my thoughts on it, and then mailed it back. This drum set is very, very cheaply made. Like these pads, these cymbal pads, they use a coating of rubber that is like microscopically thin. The whole drum set was probably made for like 50 bucks. Very cheaply made. And also look at the cymbals. Can anyone actually take you seriously when they see you playing a drum set like this? Those cymbals look like they were designed by aliens. So yeah, just go buy an Alesis Nitro for 50 more bucks and that would be a way better deal. And speaking of the Alesis Nitro, look, we've got an Alesis Nitro right here for 250 bucks. Now, for some reason, the kick drum pad isn't in the screen, but it does have an actual kick drum tower. 250 bucks. You could buy this brand new with free shipping for $300. Instead, you could buy it used for 250 bucks and then pay $100 in shipping. So this would cost you $350 to buy a drum set that costs $300 new. Does that make any sense at all? The last kit on the list isn't really a drum set, it's the TT50 expansion package. I referenced this in my first video because I thought it was weird how they'd have this $3,000 upgrade on an $800 Alesis drum set because I thought it was like all one package. But really all you get here is the snare, the ride, and the drum module. And that whole expansion package, they're selling it for $2,900 bucks. So you're saving just a little bit of cash. As you can see, brand new, it's about $3,250 bucks. So it's not an incredible deal, honestly, at this price. It's probably like an average price that you would find if you'd buy this off of eBay or something. I just wanted to make this as a quick correction to the previous episode of Buy or Pass so you guys know what actually is going on. And as you can see, even though I made that episode who knows when, like a while ago, it still hasn't sold since then. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you want to see more versions of Buy or Pass, let me know that you guys like or dislike the series. Give it a buy or a pass down in the comments below. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you in a few.